There is a theater that never closes. Its stages everywhere. In boardrooms and bedrooms, in classrooms and courtrooms, in the quiet moments before sleep and the frantic seconds before a lie. You are in it right now. So am I. We are all performers, and the curtain never falls. But some actors, some very particular actors, have learned to play a role so convincing, so utterly mesmerizing, that the audience forgets they are watching a performance at all. They fall in love with the character. They defend the character. They destroy themselves for the character. And when the mask finally slips, when the truth reveals itself in all its cold and calculated glory, the audience does not run. They applaud. They ask for an encore. This is the paradox we must explore together. This is the mystery that haunts every human heart. Why does the brain, that magnificent organ of reason and survival, fall so desperately, so completely, for those who seek to destroy it? The answer is not simple. It never is. But it begins in a place we rarely examine, a place hidden beneath layers of social conditioning and evolutionary programming. It begins with the mask itself. Before we continue, a warning. The knowledge that's about to be shared cannot be unlearned. It will permanently change the way you see human relationships. If you're ready to abandon comfortable illusions and see what's behind the stage, subscribe now. Because this isn't just a video. It's the beginning of your journey under the mask. Now let us begin. Picture a woman. Let us call her Elena. She is 32 years old, works in marketing, lives in a city apartment with exposed brick walls and plants she sometimes forgets to water. She considers herself intelligent, independent, self-aware. She has read the books. She knows the red flags. She has promised herself, after the last relationship, that she would never again ignore her instincts. And yet, here she is, sitting across from a man whose name is Marcus, and every cell in her body is screaming two different messages simultaneously. Run. Stay. Danger. Safety. Lie. Truth. Marcus is speaking. His voice is low, measured, the kind of voice that makes you lean in to hear better. He is telling her about his childhood, about a father who was never there, about learning to be strong when strength was the only option. His eyes, dark and steady, hold hers with an intensity that feels like being seen for the first time. He reaches across the table, his fingers brushing hers, and the touch sends electricity up her arm. Not the pleasant kind, the kind that makes you wonder if you have just touched something dangerous. But she does not pull away. She cannot pull away, because mixed with that danger is something else. Something that feels like recognition, like coming home. This is the first trap, the illusion of understanding. The human brain is a pattern recognition machine. It has evolved over millions of years to find connections, to predict outcomes, to create narratives that make sense of chaos. When we meet someone who seems to understand us, who mirrors our pain, who speaks the language of our wounds, the brain does not register this as suspicious. It registers it as fate, as destiny, as proof that we are not alone in our suffering. This is why the most effective manipulators are not the obvious villains. They are not the cartoon characters twirling mustaches and cackling in shadows. They are the wounded healers, the broken souls who have survived their own darkness and now, they claim, want nothing more than to help you survive yours. Marcus is a master of this art, though he would never call it that. He does not think of himself as manipulative. He thinks of himself as strategic, as adaptive, as someone who has learned to read the room, to give people what they need, to become whatever shape fits the space available. This is not conscious cruelty. This is survival instinct refined into something far more dangerous than simple malice. This is intelligence without empathy, charm without conscience, connection without commitment. Elena tells him about her own father. The words spill out before she can stop them, stories she has never told anyone, not even her therapist. She talks about feeling invisible, about learning to be perfect to earn love, about the exhaustion of always performing. And Marcus nods. He understands. Of course he understands. He has heard this story before in different words from different women, and he knows exactly what it means. It means she is hungry. It means she is vulnerable. It means she will work very, very hard to earn his approval, because that is what she has always done. He does not think these thoughts in such cold terms. The mask he wears is not just for her. It is for himself. He has worn it so long that he no longer knows where the performance ends and the person begins. This is the second trap, the manipulator who believes his own lies. 3 months pass. Elena is in love. She knows this because her friends have started to worry, because her mother has asked careful questions. because she finds herself making excuses for behaviors that would have sent her running from anyone else. Marcus cancels plans at the last minute. He disappears for days without explanation. He criticizes her choices with a smile, framing cruelty as concern. "You are too sensitive. You are overreacting. You are imagining things." And she believes him. Not because she is stupid, not because she is weak, but because the alternative is too painful to consider. The alternative is that she has been fooled, that her judgment is flawed, that she is once again not enough. This is cognitive dissonance at its most brutal. The brain cannot hold two contradictory truths at once. Either Marcus is the soulmate he appeared to be, or Elena has made a terrible mistake. One of these options allows her to keep her sense of self intact. The other shatters it. So the brain does what it has evolved to do. It protects itself. It rewrites the narrative. It finds evidence to support the story it needs to believe. When Marcus is kind, which he is strategically, intermittently, unpredictably, Elena feels a rush of relief so powerful it becomes addictive. See, she tells herself, he does care. I was wrong to doubt. This is the intermittent reinforcement schedule that keeps gamblers at slot machines and lovers in toxic relationships. The unpredictability of reward creates a bond stronger than consistent kindness ever could. But let us step back from Elena and Marcus for a moment. Let us zoom out from this particular theater and examine the stage itself. Because this dynamic, this dance of power and submission, of mask and mirror, is not unique to romantic relationships. It is the fundamental structure of human manipulation in all its forms. It appears in families where a parent's love is conditional on performance. It appears in workplaces where a boss's approval is dangled like a carrot just out of reach. It appears in friendships, in religious communities, in political movements. Anywhere humans gather, anywhere power is distributed unevenly, this pattern emerges. The question is not whether we will encounter it. The question is whether we will recognize it when we do. The mask wearers, the Marcus figures of the world, they share certain characteristics. Not all of them, not always in the same combination, but enough that patterns emerge. Enough that we can learn to see the shape of the performance before we are caught in it. They are charming, yes, but charm is not the defining feature. Many kind people are charming. Many genuine people light up a room. The difference is in the quality of attention. The mask wearer's charm is a spotlight, intense and focused, but it can be turned off just as quickly as it is turned on. When you are in the beam of that spotlight, you feel seen in a way that is almost painful in its intensity. When the spotlight moves away, you feel the cold of its absence like a physical thing. You will do anything to get back into that warmth. This is intentional. This is the design. They're also storytellers. They have narratives about themselves that are compelling, often tragic, always positioning them as the hero or the victim, never the villain. These stories serve multiple purposes. They explain away past failures and broken relationships. They create sympathy. They establish a pattern where the listener feels privileged to be trusted with such intimate information. And they provide a template. If everyone else has misunderstood him, if everyone else has failed him, then you, the listener, have an opportunity. You can be the one who finally sees him truly. You can be the exception. This is irresistible to a certain type of person. The helper, the healer, the one who believes that love can fix what is broken. But here is where the analysis becomes uncomfortable. Here is where we must turn the mirror on ourselves. Because the mask wearer does not operate in a vacuum. He needs an audience. He needs someone who will believe the performance. And that someone, that Elena, that you, that me, we are not passive victims. We are active participants. We have our own masks, our own needs, our own shadows that make us vulnerable to this particular kind of theater. Carl Jung spoke of the shadow, that part of ourselves we refuse to acknowledge, the desires and fears and impulses we have deemed unacceptable. The shadow does not disappear when we ignore it. It grows stronger. It becomes hungry. And when someone comes along who seems to see that shadow, who seems to accept it, who seems to offer us permission to be whole, we are drawn to them with a force that feels like gravity. This is not weakness. This is the human need for integration, for wholeness, for being known and accepted in our entirety. The tragedy is that the mask wearer offers a counterfeit version of this acceptance. He mirrors your shadow not to help you integrate it, but to bind you to him, to make you dependent on his validation, to ensure that you cannot leave, because leaving would mean abandoning the only person who has ever truly seen you. Elena begins to notice things. Small things at first. The way Marcus's stories change depending on who is listening. The way he speaks about his ex-girlfriend with a contempt that makes Elena's stomach turn, even as he insists he has forgiven her. The way he isolates her subtly from friends who ask too many questions. But noticing is not the same as acting. The brain has already committed to the narrative. The investment is too deep. The sunk cost fallacy is not just about money. It is about identity, about the story we have told ourselves about who we are and what we are doing. To leave now would be to admit that all of it, all the sacrifices and compromises and swallowed doubts, were for nothing. So she stays. She tries harder. She becomes smaller, quieter, more accommodating. She believes that if she can just be perfect enough, if she can just love him correctly, he will become the person he was in the beginning. She does not understand that the person in the beginning was never real. That was the mask at its most polished. What she is seeing now, the criticism and the coldness and the casual cruelty, this is what was always underneath. 6 months in, Marcus tells Elena he loves her. He says it during an argument, after he has reduced her to tears, after she has apologized for things that are not her fault. The words should feel like victory. Instead, they feel like chains. But she says it back. Of course she says it back. Because she has been waiting for this. Because she believes that love is the answer. Because she does not yet understand that love, real love, does not feel like drowning. Let us pause here and examine the neuroscience of what is happening. Because this is not just psychology. This is biology. When Elena is with Marcus, when he is kind, when he gives her that spotlight attention, her brain floods with dopamine and oxytocin. These are the bonding chemicals, the reward chemicals, the ones that make us feel alive and connected and safe. But when he withdraws, when he is cold or critical or absent, her brain experiences this as a threat. Cortisol spikes. The amygdala, the fear center, lights up. Her body goes into stress response. And here is the cruel trick of intermittent reinforcement. The unpredictability of when the reward will come makes the brain more, not less, focused on obtaining it. The uncertainty creates a kind of addiction. She is not staying because she is happy. She is staying because her brain has been hijacked by a pattern it cannot break. This is why leaving is so hard. This is why people stay in relationships that are obviously, objectively harmful. It is not stupidity. It is not weakness. It is neurochemistry. It is the same mechanism that keeps people hooked on gambling, on drugs, on any behavior that provides unpredictable rewards. The brain becomes wired to seek the high, to chase the moment of relief, even when the cost is devastating. But there is another layer to this. Another reason the brain falls for those who destroy it. And this one is even more uncomfortable to examine. Because sometimes the destruction is not a bug. It is a feature. Sometimes we are drawn to people who hurt us because hurt is familiar. Because chaos feels like home. Because we learned very early that love and pain are intertwined, and we do not know how to recognize one without the other. This is the legacy of childhood trauma. Not the dramatic kind necessarily. Not always abuse or neglect in the obvious sense. Sometimes it is simply inconsistency. A parent who is loving one day and distant the next. A household where affection must be earned through achievement. A family system where emotions are dangerous, where vulnerability is punished, where the child learns to read the room, to anticipate needs, to become whatever is required to keep the peace. These children grow into adults who are exquisitely attuned to others and utterly disconnected from themselves. They can sense what you need before you know you need it. They can mold themselves to fit any expectation, and they are drawn like moths to flame, to people who recreate the dynamic they learned to navigate as children. Not because they want to suffer, but because suffering is the language they speak. Because they believe deep in their bones that love must be earned, that it is conditional, that it can be lost at any moment if they are not vigilant enough, perfect enough, small enough. Elena had a mother who loved her. She is certain of this. But her mother's love came with conditions. Good grades, good behavior, no tears at the dinner table, no anger, no messiness. Elena learned to be the good daughter, the easy child, the one who never caused problems. And she learned that her own needs were secondary, that asking for too much was selfish, that love was something you earned through service, through sacrifice, through making yourself indispensable. So when Marcus needs her, when he calls at 2 a.m. because he is sad, when he asks her to cancel her plans because he wants to see her, when he requires her constant attention and validation, she does not see this as a red flag. She sees it as proof that she matters, that she is needed, that she has value. This is the third trap. the confusion of need with love. Marcus does need Elena, but not in the way she thinks. He needs her the way a vampire needs blood. Not out of love, but out of hunger. He needs her validation to prop up his fragile ego. He needs her flexibility to accommodate his chaos. He needs her empathy to excuse his cruelty. And he needs her silence, her willingness to swallow her own truth, to doubt her own perceptions, to accept his version of reality over her own. This is gaslighting, though that word has become so overused it has lost its power. Let us call it what it really is. It is the systematic dismantling of another person's sense of reality. It is psychological warfare dressed up as intimacy. And it works. It works because the human brain is not designed to hold firm boundaries against someone we love. It works because we want to believe the best in people. It works because the alternative, accepting that someone we have trusted is actively harming us, is too destabilizing to contemplate. So we rationalize, we excuse, we minimize, we tell ourselves stories that allow us to stay. He is stressed. He had a difficult childhood. He does not mean it. He will change. I can help him. I can fix this. I can love him enough that he will become the person I know he can be. But here is the truth that no one wants to hear. You cannot love someone into wholeness. You cannot heal someone who does not want to be healed. You cannot fix someone who does not believe they are broken. And more importantly, it is not your job to try. This is the lie that keeps people trapped. The belief that love is supposed to be hard, that relationships require sacrifice, that if you just try hard enough, if you just love purely enough, everything will work out. This is not love. This is martyrdom. And martyrdom does not save anyone. It just creates two victims instead of one. 1 year into the relationship, Elena does not recognize herself. She has lost weight. She sleeps poorly. Her friends have stopped calling, tired of hearing excuses, tired of watching her disappear. Her work is suffering. She cries in the bathroom at the office, then fixes her makeup and pretends everything is fine. She has become a ghost, haunting her own life. And still she stays. Because leaving feels impossible. Because she has invested so much. Because she is afraid of being alone. Because Marcus has convinced her, slowly and methodically, that no one else will ever understand her the way he does. That no one else will ever want her. That she is lucky he puts up with her anxiety, her neediness, her flaws. He has taken her own insecurities and weaponized them. He has made her believe that the prison is safety. That the chains are love. This is the final trap. The belief that you cannot survive without them. But let us shift perspective again. Let us look at Marcus. Not to excuse him. Never to excuse him. But to understand him. Because understanding is not the same as forgiveness. Understanding is simply seeing clearly. And what we see when we look at Marcus without the mask is not a monster. It is something more tragic. It is a human being so disconnected from his own humanity that he can only experience it through the reactions of others. He does not feel empathy. He mimics it. He does not feel love. He feels possession. He does not feel guilt. He feels inconvenience when his actions have consequences. This is not evil in the theatrical sense. This is emptiness. This is a void where a self should be. Psychologists might call Marcus a narcissist. They might use terms like antisocial personality disorder or Machiavellianism. These labels are useful for diagnosis, for treatment, for research. But they do not capture the lived experience of being someone like Marcus. Of waking up every day and performing humanity. Of knowing, on some level, that you are different, that you do not feel what others feel, that you are always on the outside looking in. Some people with these traits are born this way, their brains wired differently from the start. Others are made, shaped by trauma so severe that empathy became a luxury they could not afford. Either way, the result is the same. A person who has learned to navigate the world through manipulation because genuine connection is not available to them. This does not make Marcus less dangerous. If anything, it makes him more so, because he is not acting out of malice. He is acting out of survival. And survival instinct, unchecked by empathy or conscience, is one of the most destructive forces in human relationships. He will take what he needs from Elena until there is nothing left to take. And then he will move on. Not because he is cruel, but because she will no longer serve the function he requires. She will have become boring, predictable, used up, and there will be someone new, someone who still has light in her eyes, someone who still believes in the mask. This is the cycle. This is the pattern that repeats across time and culture and context. The mask wearer finds the vulnerable. The vulnerable mistake intensity for intimacy. The bond forms, not through genuine connection, but through neurochemical hijacking and psychological manipulation. The victim tries to fix, to heal, to earn love that was never real. The mask wearer takes, and takes until there is nothing left. And then the cycle begins again with someone new. Unless something breaks the pattern. Unless someone sees clearly. Unless someone chooses differently. For Elena, the breaking point comes on a Tuesday. There is nothing special about this Tuesday. Marcus has not done anything worse than usual. He has simply done the same thing one time too many. He has cancelled plans, offered a flimsy excuse, and when Elena expresses disappointment, he has turned it around on her. You are too demanding. You are suffocating me. I need space. And something in Elena, some small part of her that has been buried under a year of gaslighting and self-doubt, wakes up. It is not a dramatic awakening. It is quiet. It is simply the recognition that she is tired. Tired of walking on eggshells. Tired of making excuses. Tired of being small. Tired of the constant anxiety that lives in her chest like a stone. And in that moment of exhaustion, she makes a choice. Not a big choice. Not a dramatic confrontation. Just a small act of self-preservation. She does not call him back. She does not apologize. She does not try to fix it. She simply stops. The silence that follows is terrifying. Her brain screams at her to reach out, to smooth things over, to get back in his good graces. The withdrawal symptoms are real. Her body aches for the dopamine hit of his approval. She checks her phone obsessively. She writes texts and deletes them. She imagines him with someone else and feels a jealousy so intense it makes her nauseous. This is the addiction breaking. This is what it feels like to detox from a toxic bond. It is not pretty. It is not empowering. It is simply painful. But she sits with the pain. She does not run from it. She does not numb it. She lets it move through her like a wave, and she survives it. Marcus, predictably, does not let her go easily. He cycles through the playbook. First, he is angry. How dare she ignore him? Who does she think she is? Then he is hurt. He thought she was different. He thought she understood him. He has never felt this way about anyone. Then he is apologetic. He has been under stress. He has not been himself. He will change. He promises. He just needs another chance. And finally, when none of that works, he is cold. Fine. He does not need her anyway. She was never that special. He was doing her a favor. Good luck finding someone else who will put up with her issues. Each message is designed to provoke a response. Each one is a hook, baited with emotion, cast into the water to see if she will bite. And part of her wants to. Part of her wants to defend herself, to explain, to make him understand. But she does not, because she is beginning to realize something fundamental. She cannot make him understand, because understanding requires empathy, and empathy requires seeing her as a full human being, not as a function, not as a source of supply, not as a character in his story. He cannot see her that way. He never could. The person she fell in love with, the person who seemed to understand her so completely, was a reflection. A mirror. He showed her what she wanted to see, and she mistook the reflection for reality. This is the grief that comes after leaving. Not just grief for the relationship, but grief for the illusion. Grief for the person you thought they were. Grief for the future you imagined. Grief for the time you lost. Grief for the version of yourself that believed, that hoped, that tried. This grief is necessary. It is the price of waking up. And it is worth paying. Because on the other side of grief is clarity. And clarity, once achieved, cannot be taken away. Elena begins to rebuild. Slowly. She reconnects with friends. She starts therapy. She reads about trauma bonding and narcissistic abuse and attachment theory. She learns the language for what happened to her. And the language is powerful. It gives her a framework. It shows her that she is not alone. That this pattern is common. That it has been studied and documented and understood. That there are reasons, neurological and psychological and evolutionary, why intelligent, capable people fall into these traps. This knowledge does not erase the pain, but it transforms it. It turns shame into understanding. It turns self-blame into self-compassion. It allows her to see that she was not stupid. She was human. And humans are wired for connection, even when that wiring is exploited. But here is where the story becomes more complex. Because Elena's healing is not linear. It is not a straight line from victim to survivor to thriver. It is messy. It is full of setbacks. There are days when she misses Marcus so intensely she can barely breathe. There are nights when she dreams about him and wakes up crying. There are moments when she sees a couple laughing together and feels a jealousy so sharp it cuts. There are times when she doubts everything. Maybe she was too sensitive. Maybe she did overreact. Maybe he was right about her. Maybe she will never find anyone else. These thoughts are not truth. They are echoes. They are the voice of the trauma, trying to pull her back into the familiar pattern. But she is learning to recognize them, to observe them without believing them, to let them pass through without taking root. This is the work of recovery, not the dramatic moment of leaving, but the daily practice of choosing yourself, of setting boundaries, of sitting with discomfort, of learning to trust your own perceptions again, of rebuilding a sense of self that was systematically dismantled. It is unglamorous work. It does not make for inspiring social media posts. It is simply the slow, patient process of becoming whole. And as Elena heals, she begins to see the masks everywhere. Not just in romantic relationships, but in all areas of life. She sees them in her workplace, where a colleague takes credit for others' work while maintaining a facade of collaboration. She sees them in her family, where certain dynamics have been normalized for so long that no one questions them. She sees them in politics, in media, in the carefully curated personas of social media influencers. She sees them in herself, the way she performs, the way she hides, the way she has learned to be palatable, acceptable, safe. And she begins to wonder, what would it be like to take off her own mask? To stop performing? To simply be? This is the question that haunts everyone who has seen behind the curtain. Once you understand the theater, once you recognize the performance, you cannot unsee it. You cannot go back to naive trust. You cannot pretend that everyone means what they say, that intentions are always good, that the world is safe. This knowledge is a burden, but it is also a gift, because it allows you to choose consciously, to decide who you trust and why, to recognize red flags before you are in too deep, to protect yourself without becoming cynical, to remain open without being naive. But let us return to the original question. Why does the brain fall for those who destroy it? We have explored the mechanisms, the neurochemistry, the childhood patterns, the cognitive biases, the manipulation tactics. But there is one more layer, one more truth that we must examine, and it is this. Sometimes the brain falls for those who destroy it because destruction feels like transformation, because we confuse intensity with aliveness, because we have been taught, through movies and songs and stories, that real love is supposed to hurt, that passion is supposed to be painful, that if it is easy, it is not real. This is perhaps the most dangerous lie of all, because it makes us seek out suffering. It makes us distrust peace. It makes us believe that healthy love, the kind that is steady and safe and supportive, is boring, that it lacks depth, that it is not enough. This cultural programming runs deep. It is in every romance novel where the brooding, damaged man is healed by the love of a good woman. It is in every movie where the couple fights and breaks up and gets back together in a dramatic airport scene. It is in every song about toxic love that we sing along to without questioning the message. We are marinating in narratives that glorify dysfunction, that romanticize jealousy and possessiveness and emotional volatility, that teach us to confuse drama with depth. And then we wonder why we keep choosing partners who hurt us, why we keep recreating the same painful patterns, why we cannot seem to recognize healthy love when it appears. The truth is that healthy love is quiet. It is consistent. It is boring in the best possible way. It does not require you to shrink or perform or earn it. It does not keep you guessing. It does not make you feel crazy. It does not demand that you sacrifice your sense of self. It simply is. And for people who have been conditioned to associate love with pain, this kind of love can feel wrong. It can feel like something is missing. It can feel like settling. This is the final barrier to healing. Learning to tolerate peace. Learning to trust stability. Learning to believe that you deserve love that does not hurt. Elena is learning this. Slowly. She goes on dates. Some of them are fine. Some of them are awkward. None of them have the electric intensity of those early days with Marcus. And she has to resist the urge to interpret this as a lack of chemistry. She has to remind herself that chemistry, that instant intense connection, is often a red flag, not a green light. It is often a sign that old wounds are being activated, that familiar patterns are being triggered. Real compatibility, the kind that lasts, is built slowly. It is based on shared values and mutual respect, and the ability to navigate conflict without cruelty. It is not fireworks. It is a steady flame. And steady flames, while less dramatic, are what keep you warm through the long winters of life. She meets someone. Let us call him David. He is kind. He is consistent. He does what he says he will do. He asks about her day and actually listens to the answer. He respects her boundaries. He does not love bomb her with grand gestures and intense declarations. He simply shows up, week after week, and Elena finds this terrifying, because her nervous system is wired for chaos, because calm feels like the moment before the storm, because she keeps waiting for the other shoe to drop, for him to reveal that this is all an act, for the mask to slip. But weeks turn into months, and David remains David. Steady, present, real. And slowly, very slowly, Elena begins to relax, to trust, to believe that maybe, just maybe, this is what love is supposed to feel like. But this is not a fairy tale. This is not a story about being saved by the right person. Because Elena is not saved by David. She is saved by herself, by the work she has done, by the boundaries she has learned to set, by the self-awareness she has cultivated. David is simply someone who is capable of meeting her where she is. Someone who has done his own work. Someone who is not looking for someone to fix or save or complete him. Someone who is whole enough to be in relationship with another whole person. This is what healthy partnership looks like. Not two halves making a whole, but two wholes choosing to walk together. And what of Marcus? What becomes of the mask wearers when their supply runs out? When the people they have used wise up and leave? Some of them never change. They simply find new victims. They refine their techniques. They get better at the performance. They leave a trail of broken people in their wake and never look back. They die alone, surrounded by people who do not really know them, because they have never allowed themselves to be known. This is the tragedy of the mask wearer. Not that they hurt others, though they do, but that they are trapped in their own performance. That they have worn the mask so long they have forgotten there was ever a face beneath it. But some of them, a very few, hit bottom. They lose enough. They hurt enough people. They face enough consequences that the mask cracks. And in that moment, they have a choice. They can repair the mask and continue the performance. Or they can do the terrifying work of becoming real, of facing what they have done, of developing the empathy they have spent a lifetime avoiding. This work is brutal. It requires acknowledging harm without excuse. It requires sitting with shame and guilt and grief. It requires building a self from scratch, learning to feel feelings that have been numbed or avoided for decades. Most people do not choose this path. It is too painful, too uncertain. The mask is easier. The performance is familiar. But for those who do choose it, for those who are willing to shatter and rebuild, there is the possibility of redemption. Not redemption in the eyes of those they have hurt. That may never come. That may not be deserved. But redemption in the sense of becoming, finally, genuinely human. We do not know if Marcus will ever reach this point. We do not know if he is capable of it, and it does not matter. Because Elena's healing does not depend on his transformation. Her peace does not require his apology. Her wholeness does not need his acknowledgement of wrongdoing. This is one of the hardest lessons for people leaving toxic relationships to learn. You will not get closure from them. You will not get the apology you deserve. You will not get them to understand what they did. You have to create your own closure. You have to validate your own experience. You have to be the one who says, this happened, it was wrong, and I am choosing to move forward anyway. This is sovereignty. This is taking back your power. Not in the dramatic sense of revenge or vindication, but in the quiet sense of no longer needing anything from them. No longer checking their social media. No longer wondering what they're doing or who they are with. No longer telling the story of what they did to you. Simply moving forward, carrying the lessons but not the wounds. This is freedom. But let us zoom out one final time. Let us look at the broader implications of this pattern. Because the dynamic we have explored, the mask and the mirror, the manipulator and the manipulated, this is not just about individual relationships. This is about power, about how power operates in human systems, about how those who seek power often do so not from strength, but from emptiness, about how they use the vulnerabilities of others to fill the void within themselves, and about how systems, institutions, entire societies can be built on these dynamics. Consider the charismatic leader who promises to save his followers, who tells them they are special, chosen, part of something greater than themselves, who demands absolute loyalty in return, who isolates them from outside influences, who punishes dissent, who takes and takes while giving only the intermittent reward of his approval. This is the same pattern, the same mask, just on a larger scale. Cult leaders, authoritarian politicians, corporate executives who build toxic cultures, religious figures who abuse their power. They all use the same playbook. They all exploit the same human vulnerabilities. The need to belong, the need to matter, the need to believe in something, the need to be seen. And the followers, the believers, the employees, the citizens, they are not stupid. They are not weak. They are human. They are responding to the same neurochemical rewards, the same psychological patterns, the same evolutionary programming that makes all of us vulnerable to manipulation. The scale is different. The consequences are different. But the mechanism is the same. This is why understanding individual manipulation is so important. Because once you see the pattern, you can recognize it everywhere. You can protect yourself not just in relationships, but in all areas of life. You can ask the right questions. Who benefits from this? What am I being asked to sacrifice? What am I getting in return? Is this person showing me who they are, or are they showing me what I want to see? Am I being seen as a full human being, or as a function? Am I being encouraged to think critically, or to simply obey? These questions are acts of resistance. They are how we protect ourselves in a world full of masks. They are how we maintain our sovereignty in systems designed to extract it. They are how we stay human in environments that would reduce us to functions. This is not cynicism. This is discernment. And discernment is one of the most important skills we can develop. The ability to see clearly, to trust our perceptions, to honor our instincts, to recognize when something feels wrong, even if we cannot articulate why, to choose ourselves, even when it is hard, especially when it is hard. Elena has developed this skill. It has cost her. It has required her to face painful truths about herself, about her family, about the world. It has required her to give up comforting illusions. But it has also freed her. She no longer needs external validation to know her worth. She no longer contorts herself to fit other people's expectations. She no longer mistakes intensity for intimacy or chaos for passion. She has learned to trust herself. And that trust, once earned, is unshakable. This is the gift on the other side of betrayal. The gift of knowing yourself so deeply that no one can convince you that you are crazy, that your perceptions are wrong, that your needs are too much, that you are too sensitive, too demanding, too broken to deserve love. These are the lies that manipulators tell. And once you stop believing them, once you reclaim your own truth, you become immune to the performance. You can see the mask for what it is. You can appreciate the artistry of it, even the skill required to maintain such a convincing facade. But you are no longer fooled by it. You are no longer vulnerable to it. You have learned to see clearly. And seeing clearly changes everything. It changes who you allow into your life. It changes how you respond to red flags. It changes your tolerance for disrespect. It changes your willingness to sacrifice yourself for others' comfort. It changes your relationship with yourself. Because once you have been betrayed by someone you trusted, once you have been manipulated by someone you loved, you have to make a choice. You can close off. You can decide that trust is too dangerous, that vulnerability is too risky, that it is safer to be alone. Or you can do the harder thing. You can learn to trust yourself, to trust your ability to recognize danger, to trust your ability to survive betrayal, to trust that you can be open and discerning at the same time, that you can be vulnerable and boundaried, that you can love without losing yourself. This is the paradox of healing. It requires you to become both softer and harder. Softer in your compassion for yourself and others. Harder in your boundaries and standards. It requires you to hold complexity. To understand that people can be both victims and perpetrators. That you can have empathy for someone's pain while still holding them accountable for their actions. That understanding why someone hurt you does not mean you have to forgive them or allow them back into your life. That you can wish someone well from a distance while protecting yourself from their toxicity. These are not contradictions. They are the nuances of mature emotional intelligence. Elena has learned to hold these nuances. She has empathy for Marcus. She understands that he is likely repeating patterns from his own childhood, that he is probably as trapped by his programming as she was by hers. But she also knows that his pain does not excuse his behavior, that understanding him does not require her to sacrifice herself, that she can hold space for his humanity while still maintaining firm boundaries. This is not coldness. This is wisdom. This is the ability to see people clearly, in all their complexity, without taking responsibility for fixing them. And this wisdom extends beyond her relationship with Marcus. It informs all her relationships now. She is quicker to recognize when someone is performing, when someone is mirroring her to gain her trust, when someone is using vulnerability as a weapon, when someone is testing her boundaries, She does not judge these people harshly. She simply notes the behavior and adjusts accordingly. She does not try to change them or save them. She simply protects herself. And this protection is not defensive or fearful. It is calm. It is grounded. It is the natural result of knowing her own worth. But let us address the question that may be forming in your mind. If everyone is wearing masks, if everyone is performing to some degree, how do we know what is real? How do we distinguish between the normal social performance that we all engage in and the manipulative performance of someone like Marcus? This is a crucial question, because the answer is not to become paranoid, not to see manipulation in every interaction, not to close off from human connection out of fear. The answer is to understand the difference between adaptive social behavior and exploitative manipulation. We all wear masks. We all present different versions of ourselves in different contexts. You are not the same person at work that you are with your best friend. You are not the same person with your parents that you are with your partner. This is normal. This is healthy. This is how we navigate complex social environments. The difference is in the intention and the flexibility. Healthy social performance is about context appropriateness. It is about respecting boundaries and norms. It is about making others comfortable while still remaining authentic to your core values. Manipulative performance is about control. It is about extracting something from others. It is about creating a false self specifically designed to exploit vulnerabilities. And it is rigid. The manipulator cannot drop the mask, even when it would be safe to do so, because there is nothing underneath. So how do you tell the difference? You watch for consistency over time. You watch for how they treat people who cannot benefit them. You watch for how they respond to boundaries. You watch for whether they take accountability when they make mistakes. You watch for whether their actions match their words. You watch for whether they respect your autonomy or try to control you. You watch for whether they encourage your growth or keep you small. You watch for whether they can tolerate your success or need you to fail. You watch for whether they celebrate your joy or diminish it. You watch for whether they support your other relationships or isolate you. You watch for whether they accept no as an answer or punish you for it. These are not dramatic red flags. They are subtle patterns, and they reveal themselves slowly. This is why the beginning of a relationship, any relationship, should be a time of observation, not of commitment, not of investment, not of merging your life with theirs, but of watching, of gathering data, of seeing if their character is consistent, of noticing how you feel in their presence, not the excitement or the intensity, but the deeper feeling. Do you feel safe? Do you feel seen? Do you feel free to be yourself? Or do you feel like you are walking on eggshells? Like you are performing? Like you are shrinking? Your body knows before your mind does. Your nervous system picks up on inconsistencies and dangers that your conscious mind wants to rationalize away. Learning to listen to your body, to trust your gut, to honor your instincts, this is one of the most important skills you can develop. Elena wishes she had known this earlier. She wishes she had trusted the unease she felt in those early days with Marcus. The way her stomach tightened when he told certain stories. The way her shoulders tensed when he criticized her. The way she felt exhausted after spending time with him, even when they had not done anything particularly draining. She rationalized these feelings away. She told herself she was being paranoid, oversensitive, self-sabotaging. She overrode her body's wisdom with her mind's desire to believe. This is a mistake she will not make again. Now, when her body speaks, she listens. When something feels off, she pays attention. She does not need to be able to articulate why. She does not need evidence. She simply needs to honor the signal. This is self-trust. This is sovereignty. But self-trust is not the same as rigidity. It is not about having a checklist of red flags and immediately cutting off anyone who displays one. It is about staying present, about remaining curious, about gathering information without rushing to judgment, about giving people the benefit of the doubt while still protecting yourself, about being open to being wrong, about adjusting your assessment as new information emerges. This is the dance of discernment. It requires both openness and boundaries, both vulnerability and protection, both trust and verification. It is not easy, but it is necessary, because the alternative is either naive trust that leaves you vulnerable or cynical distrust that leaves you isolated. Neither of these extremes serves you. The middle path, the path of discernment, is harder to walk, but it is the only path that leads to genuine connection. And genuine connection, real intimacy, is what we are all seeking. Even the mask wearers, in their own broken way, are seeking it. They simply do not know how to achieve it. They have learned that vulnerability is dangerous, that authenticity is punished, that the only way to get their needs met is through manipulation. This is a tragedy, not just for their victims, but for them, because they will never experience the thing they are seeking. They will never know what it feels like to be truly seen and accepted. They will never know the peace of being able to drop the performance. They will never know the joy of genuine reciprocity. They will spend their lives taking from others and still feel empty, because what they are taking is not what they need. What they need is connection. But connection requires vulnerability, and vulnerability requires a self. And they have no self to offer, only masks. This is why healing from manipulation is not just about recovering from what was done to you. It is about reclaiming yourself, about remembering who you were before you learned to perform, about excavating the authentic core that has been buried under layers of conditioning and trauma and adaptation, about giving yourself permission to want what you want, to feel what you feel, to need what you need, without apology or justification, about learning that you do not have to earn love, that you do not have to be perfect to be worthy, that you do not have to sacrifice yourself to matter. These are revolutionary acts in a culture that teaches us, especially women, that our value lies in our usefulness to others, that our needs are secondary, that our boundaries are selfish, that our anger is unacceptable, that our pain is too much. Elena is learning to be revolutionary, to take up space, to speak her truth, to set boundaries without guilt, to prioritize her own well-being, to say no without explanation, to walk away from situations that do not serve her, to stop performing, to stop shrinking, to stop apologizing for existing. This is not easy. Every time she does it, she feels the pull of old programming. The voice that says she is being selfish, difficult, too much. But she is learning to recognize that voice for what it is. Not truth, not wisdom, just conditioning. Just the internalized expectations of a culture that benefits from her smallness. And she is learning to talk back to that voice, to challenge it, to replace it with a new voice. A voice that says, you matter, your needs are valid, your boundaries are necessary, your truth is important, you are enough, you have always been enough. This new voice is quiet at first. Tentative, easy to drown out, but with practice it grows stronger. It becomes her default. It becomes the foundation of her sense of self. And from this foundation, she can build a life that is truly hers. Not a life designed to please others. Not a life spent performing, but a life lived from the inside out. A life aligned with her values. A life that honors her truth. This is freedom. This is what is possible on the other side of the mask. But let us not pretend that this freedom comes without cost. Let us not romanticize the journey. Because choosing yourself, setting boundaries, refusing to perform, these acts have consequences. Some people will not like the new you. Some people will be threatened by your growth. Some people will try to pull you back into old patterns. Some people will leave. And this is painful, even when you know it is necessary, even when you know they were not good for you. Loss is loss, and it hurts. This is the price of authenticity. Not everyone will celebrate your liberation. Some people benefited from your cage. Elena has lost people. Friends who were only comfortable with the version of her that was accommodating and easy. Family members who do not understand why she has changed, why she is suddenly so difficult, why she cannot just let things go. Colleagues who preferred her when she was a people pleaser. And yes, Marcus, though losing him feels less like loss and more like amputation. Painful but necessary. The removal of something that was poisoning her system. But still, the absence is real. The grief is real. The loneliness is real. And she has to sit with it, has to feel it, has to resist the urge to fill the void with another relationship, another distraction, another performance. Has to learn to be alone with herself, to befriend herself, to become the person she needed someone else to be. This is perhaps the most important work. Learning to give yourself what you have been seeking from others. Learning to validate your own experience. To comfort your own pain. To celebrate your own victories. To be your own safe place. This does not mean you do not need others. Humans are social creatures. We are wired for connection. But it means you are not dependent on others for your sense of self. It means you can be in relationship without losing yourself. It means you can be alone without being lonely. It means you are whole. Not because you have found the right person, but because you have found yourself. And from this place of wholeness, relationship becomes something different. It is no longer about filling a void. It is about sharing fullness. It is no longer about need. It is about choice. It is no longer about completion. It is about companionship. Two whole people choosing to walk together, not because they cannot survive alone, but because they enjoy the journey more in each other's company. This is what Elena is building with David. Not a fairy tale, not a rescue, but a partnership, a friendship, a mutual respect, a shared commitment to growth, a willingness to navigate conflict with honesty and compassion, a relationship where both people can be fully themselves, where masks are not necessary, where vulnerability is safe, where love is not a performance but a practice. This is the antidote to manipulation. Not vigilance, not suspicion, not walls, but wholeness. When you are whole, when you know yourself, when you trust yourself, manipulation loses its power. Because manipulation works by exploiting emptiness, by promising to fill the void, by offering you the thing you think you cannot give yourself. But when you have already given it to yourself, when you have already filled your own void, the manipulator has nothing to offer. The performance is still impressive. The mask is still convincing. But you are no longer the right audience. You are no longer looking for someone to complete you. You are looking for someone to complement you. And there is a world of difference between those two things. Completion implies lack. It implies that you are insufficient on your own. It implies that you need someone else to make you whole. This is the lie that keeps people trapped in toxic relationships. The belief that they cannot survive without the other person. That they are incomplete alone. That their worth is determined by whether someone chooses them. This is not love. This is codependency. And codependency is fertile ground for manipulation. Because when you believe you need someone, you will tolerate anything to keep them. You will ignore red flags. You will excuse bad behavior. You will sacrifice your own well-being. You will lose yourself, all in service of maintaining the relationship. Because without the relationship, you believe you are nothing. Complement implies wholeness. It implies that you are complete on your own. It implies that you are choosing to be with someone not out of need, but out of desire. Not because you cannot survive without them, but because life is richer with them. This is the foundation of healthy relationship. Two whole people choosing each other. Not because they have to, but because they want to. And that choice is made fresh every day. Not out of obligation or fear or habit, but out of genuine appreciation and respect and love. This kind of relationship can be left if it becomes unhealthy. Because your wholeness does not depend on it. This kind of relationship can be honest, because you are not afraid of losing it. This kind of relationship can grow, because both people are free to evolve. This is what is possible when you do the work of becoming whole. But wholeness is not a destination. It is not something you achieve once, and then maintain forever. It is a practice, a daily choice, a constant returning to yourself. Because life will always present challenges. People will always try to pull you off center. Circumstances will always test your boundaries. Old patterns will always try to reassert themselves. This is not failure. This is being human. The work is not to never lose yourself. The work is to notice when you are losing yourself and to choose to come back. To recalibrate. To realign. To remember who you are and what you value. This is the practice of sovereignty. Not perfection, but presence. Not rigidity, but flexibility. Not control, but awareness. Elena practices this daily. She checks in with herself. She asks, how do I feel? What do I need? Am I honoring my truth? Am I performing, or am I being authentic? Am I choosing this, or am I defaulting to old patterns? These questions keep her grounded. They keep her connected to herself. They prevent her from sleepwalking through her life. They ensure that she is the author of her story, not just a character in someone else's narrative. This is agency. This is power. Not power over others, but power over yourself. The power to choose. The power to change. The power to stay. The power to leave. The power to be. And this power, once claimed, changes everything. It changes how you move through the world. It changes what you tolerate. It changes what you attract. Because energy is real. Vibration is real. When you are grounded in yourself, when you are clear about your worth, when you are unshakable in your boundaries, you emit a frequency that repels manipulators and attracts healthy people. Not because you are trying to, but because like attracts like. Whole people are attracted to whole people. Manipulators are attracted to emptiness. When you are no longer empty, you are no longer a target. This is not victim blaming. This is empowerment. This is understanding that while you cannot control what others do, you can control who you allow into your life and how you respond to their behavior. This understanding is crucial, because one of the most damaging aspects of manipulation is the shame it creates. The belief that you should have known better, that you should have seen the signs, that you are stupid or weak or broken for falling for it. This shame keeps people silent. It keeps them isolated. It keeps them from seeking help. It keeps them trapped. But shame is not truth. Shame is a tool of control, and it has no place in healing. You are not stupid for trusting someone. You are not weak for wanting connection. You are not broken for having vulnerabilities. You are human, and humans are wired for trust and connection. The fact that someone exploited that wiring says everything about them and nothing about you. This is the message that needs to be repeated until it sinks in. You are not to blame for being manipulated. The manipulator is to blame for manipulating. Full stop. This does not mean you have no responsibility. You are responsible for your healing. You are responsible for learning the lessons. You are responsible for doing the work so that you do not repeat the pattern. But you are not responsible for what was done to you. You are not responsible for someone else's choice to lie, to deceive, to exploit. That is on them. And carrying their shame, their guilt, their responsibility, this is just another way of staying bound to them. Put it down. It was never yours to carry. Elena has put it down. It took time. It took therapy. It took journaling and crying and raging and grieving. It took talking to other survivors and realizing she was not alone. It took educating herself about manipulation tactics and trauma bonding and narcissistic abuse. It took building a support system of people who believed her, who validated her experience, who did not tell her to just get over it or to forgive and forget. It took learning that forgiveness is not required for healing, that you can heal without ever forgiving the person who hurt you. That forgiveness is a gift you give if and when you are ready, not an obligation, not a requirement, not something you owe anyone. And it took time, so much time, because healing is not linear. It is not fast. It is not neat. It is messy and slow and full of setbacks. But it is possible, and it is worth it. Now 2 years after leaving Marcus, Elena is unrecognizable. Not in appearance, but in energy, in presence, in the way she carries herself. There is a groundedness to her now, a clarity, a quiet confidence that comes from having survived the worst and come out the other side. She is not bitter. She is not closed off. She is not afraid. She is simply awake. She sees clearly. She trusts herself. She knows her worth. And she will never again settle for less than she deserves. This is not arrogance. This is self-respect. And self-respect, once earned, is the most powerful force in the universe. It is the antidote to manipulation, the shield against exploitation, the foundation of a life well lived. But let us return one final time to the question that started this journey. Why does the brain fall for those who destroy it? We have explored many answers. The neurochemistry of intermittent reinforcement, the childhood patterns that make us vulnerable, the cognitive biases that keep us trapped, the cultural programming that romanticizes toxic love, the manipulator's skill at exploiting vulnerabilities, the victim's hunger for connection and understanding. All of these are true. All of these are part of the answer. But there is one more truth, one more layer, and it is this. The brain falls for those who destroy it because destruction and creation are not opposites. They are partners. They are two sides of the same coin. And sometimes we need to be destroyed to be reborn. This is not to romanticize abuse. This is not to suggest that manipulation is somehow good for us. It is not. It is harmful. It is traumatic. It leaves scars. But scars are not just wounds. They're also evidence of healing. They are proof that the body knows how to repair itself. And sometimes the breaking is what allows the light to get in. Sometimes the shattering is what reveals what was always underneath. Sometimes the destruction of who we thought we were is necessary for the emergence of who we actually are. Elena would not have chosen this path. She would not have chosen to meet Marcus, to fall for his performance, to lose herself in the relationship, to endure the pain of leaving and healing. But she cannot deny that the person she is now, the person who emerged from the ashes of that relationship, is someone she actually likes, someone she respects, someone she trusts, someone she would choose as a friend. The old Elena, the one who existed before Marcus, was nice. She was likable. She was successful. But she was also asleep. She was performing. She was living a life designed by others' expectations. She was disconnected from herself. The breaking woke her up. The pain forced her to pay attention. The betrayal taught her to trust herself. The loss showed her what she was made of. This does not make the abuse okay, but it does make it meaningful. It transforms it from something that happened to her into something that happened for her. Not because it was meant to be, but because she chose to use it, to learn from it, to let it shape her into something stronger and wiser and more authentically herself. This is the alchemy of trauma, the transformation of pain into wisdom, of wounds into scars, of victimhood into sovereignty. It is not automatic. It is not guaranteed. It requires work. It requires choice. It requires a willingness to face the darkness and find the lessons hidden there. But it is possible, and it is powerful. Because once you have done this work, once you have transformed your pain into power, no one can take it from you. It becomes part of your foundation, part of your strength, part of your story. Not the whole story, not the defining story, but a chapter, an important chapter. The chapter where you learned who you really are. And who you really are is not defined by what was done to you. It is defined by how you responded, by the choices you made in the aftermath, by the work you did to heal, by the boundaries you learned to set, by the truth you learned to speak, by the self you learned to trust. This is your power. This is your story. And no one, no manipulator, no mask wearer, no one can take it from you. Because it is not something external. It is not something that can be stolen or destroyed. It is internal. It is essential. It is you. So we return to where we began. The theater that never closes. The stage that is everywhere. The masks that we all wear. But now we see it differently. Now we understand that the mask is not the problem. The problem is when we forget we are wearing one. When we mistake the performance for reality. When we lose ourselves in the role. The work is not to never wear masks. The work is to know when we are wearing them. To choose them consciously. To be able to take them off. To have a self underneath. A core. A truth. Something solid and real in ours. This is what Elena has found. This is what is available to anyone willing to do the work. Not perfection. Not invulnerability. Not a life free from pain or challenge or loss. But a life lived from the inside out. A life aligned with truth. A life where you are the author, not just a character. A life where you choose consciously. Where you love freely. Where you trust wisely. Where you give generously without depleting yourself. Where you receive graciously without losing yourself. Where you stay when it serves you and leave when it does not. Where you honor your truth even when it is inconvenient. Where you speak your needs even when it is uncomfortable. Where you set boundaries even when it disappoints others. Where you choose yourself again and again and again, not out of selfishness but out of self-respect. Out of the understanding that you cannot pour from an empty cup. That you cannot love others well if you do not love yourself first. That you cannot be present for others if you are not present for yourself. That you cannot give what you do not have. This is the wisdom that comes from surviving manipulation, from seeing behind the mask, from recognizing the performance, from choosing to wake up. It is hard-won wisdom. It is paid for in tears and sleepless nights and moments of doubt, so deep they feel like drowning. But it is real. It is solid. It is yours. And once you have it, once you have truly integrated it, you move through the world differently. You see differently. You choose differently. You love differently. You live differently. Not perfectly, but consciously. Not fearfully, but wisely. Not closed, but discerning. Not naive, but still open. Still hopeful. Still believing in the possibility of genuine connection. Because you have found it. Not with Marcus, but with yourself. And that connection, that relationship with yourself, is the foundation of everything else. From this foundation, you can build a life. You can create relationships. You can take risks. You can be vulnerable. You can trust. Not blindly, but wisely. Not desperately, but freely. Not out of need, but out of choice. And when you encounter the mask wearers, because they are everywhere, you will recognize them. Not with judgment, not with fear, but with clarity. You will see the performance for what it is. You will appreciate the artistry, perhaps. You will have compassion for the emptiness that drives it, maybe, but you will not be fooled. You will not be hooked. You will not be drawn in, because you are no longer the right audience. You are no longer looking for someone to complete you. You are already whole, and wholeness recognizes wholeness. Emptiness recognizes emptiness, and never the two shall meet. Not in any way that is sustainable. Not in any way that is healthy. Not in any way that serves life. So the answer to our question, the final answer, is this. The brain falls for those who destroy it, because the brain is wired for connection, for pattern recognition, for hope. Because the brain can be hijacked by neurochemistry and manipulated by skilled performers. Because the brain carries wounds from childhood that make it vulnerable to certain dynamics. Because the brain has been programmed by culture to romanticize toxicity. All of this is true, but the brain also has the capacity to learn, to adapt, to heal, to grow, to recognize patterns and break them, to see clearly and choose wisely, to protect itself without closing off, to remain open without being naive, to love without losing itself, to trust without being foolish, to hope without being blind. This capacity is always there, always available, always waiting to be activated. The question is not whether you will encounter manipulators. You will. The question is whether you will recognize them, whether you will trust yourself, whether you will choose yourself, whether you will do the work of becoming whole so that you are no longer vulnerable to the performance, so that you can see the mask for what it is, so that you can walk away from the theater and build a life that is real. This is the invitation. This is the challenge. This is the work. Not to become cynical or closed or suspicious, but to become conscious, to wake up, to see clearly, to know yourself so deeply that no one can convince you that you are someone else, to trust yourself so completely that no one can gaslight you into doubting your perceptions, to love yourself so fully that no one can make you believe you are not enough. This is sovereignty. This is freedom. This is power. Not power over others, but power over yourself. The power to choose. The power to stay. The power to leave. The power to be. Fully. Authentically. Unapologetically. Yourself. Elena has claimed this power. She has done the work. She has walked through the fire and emerged transformed. She is not perfect. She still has moments of doubt. She still has triggers. She still has days when the old patterns try to reassert themselves. But she has tools now. She has awareness. She has a practice. She has a foundation. She has herself. And that is enough. More than enough. It is everything. Because from this place of self-possession, anything is possible. Any relationship, any dream, any life. Not because someone else gives it to you, but because you give it to yourself. Because you choose it. Because you create it. Because you are the author of your story. Not a victim, not a character, but the writer, the director, the star, the audience, all of it, all of you, whole, complete, free. This is what is possible. This is what waits on the other side of the mask. Not a fairy tale, not a rescue, not a perfect life free from pain, but a real life, an authentic life, a life lived on your terms, a life where you are seen, truly seen, starting with being seen by yourself, a life where you are known, deeply known, starting with knowing yourself, a life where you are loved, unconditionally loved, starting with loving yourself. This is not selfish. This is essential. This is the foundation of everything else. Because you cannot give what you do not have. You cannot love others if you do not love yourself. You cannot see others clearly if you do not see yourself clearly. You cannot accept others if you do not accept yourself. You cannot forgive others if you do not forgive yourself. You cannot be present for others if you are not present for yourself. Everything starts with you. Everything returns to you. You are the center. You are the foundation. You are the source. And when you understand this, when you truly integrate this, everything changes. Your relationships change. Your work changes. Your health changes. Your entire life reorganizes itself around this new center. Not because you are trying to make it happen, but because it cannot help but happen. Because energy flows where attention goes. Because what you focus on expands. Because who you are being determines what you attract. And when you are being whole, when you are being authentic, when you are being sovereign, you attract wholeness and authenticity and sovereignty. You repel manipulation and exploitation and toxicity. Not through effort, not through vigilance, but through simple resonance, through being so fully yourself that anything that is not aligned with your truth simply falls away. This is the magic of healing. This is the gift of doing the work. Not that life becomes perfect, but that you become present. Not that pain disappears, but that you develop the capacity to move through it without being destroyed by it. Not that you never encounter mask wearers again, but that you recognize them immediately and choose not to engage. Not that you never make mistakes, but that you learn from them quickly and adjust course. Not that you never feel fear, but that you feel it and act anyway. Not that you never doubt yourself, but that you return to yourself quickly when you do. This is mastery, not perfection, but presence, not control, but consciousness, not rigidity, but resilience, the ability to bend without breaking, to feel without being overwhelmed, to love without losing yourself, to give without depleting yourself, to receive without owing yourself, to be in relationship without being consumed by it, to be alone without being lonely, to be yourself fully and completely in all circumstances with all people at all times. This is the goal. This is the work. This is the journey. And it is a journey, not a destination. Because you never arrive. You never finish. You never complete the work of becoming yourself. Because yourself is not static. It is dynamic. It is evolving. It is growing. It is changing. And the work is to stay connected to that evolution. To honor that growth. To allow that change. To not cling to who you were. To not force yourself to be who you think you should be. But to simply be who you are right now in this moment, and to trust that who you are is enough, is perfect, is exactly what is needed. This is radical acceptance, not of circumstances, not of other people's behavior, but of yourself, of your humanity, of your imperfection, of your ongoing evolution, of your right to exist exactly as you are, without apology, without justification, without performance. Elena is practicing this every day, in small ways and large ways, in the way she speaks to herself, in the way she sets boundaries, in the way she chooses how to spend her time, in the way she responds to stress, in the way she navigates conflict, in the way she loves, in the way she lives. She is not perfect at it. She still catches herself performing sometimes. She still catches herself shrinking sometimes. She still catches herself prioritizing others' comfort over her own truth sometimes. But she catches herself. That is the key. She notices. She becomes aware. And in that awareness, she has choice. She can continue the pattern, or she can choose differently. And more, she chooses differently. She chooses herself. She chooses truth. She chooses authenticity. She chooses sovereignty. And each time she makes that choice, it becomes easier. The neural pathways strengthen. The new pattern becomes the default. The old programming loses its power. This is neuroplasticity. This is how we change. Not through dramatic transformation, but through consistent, small choices. Through daily practice. Through showing up for ourselves, again and again and again, until showing up for ourselves becomes as natural as breathing. And as Elena practices this, as she becomes more and more herself, she notices something interesting. The people in her life change. Not because she is trying to change them, but because she is no longer available for certain dynamics. The people who were drawn to her performance, to her people-pleasing, to her willingness to shrink, they drift away. Not dramatically, not with conflict. They simply lose interest, because she is no longer playing the role they needed her to play. And new people appear. People who are attracted to her authenticity. People who appreciate her boundaries. People who respect her truth. People who are doing their own work. People who are whole enough to be in relationship with another whole person. This is not magic. This is simply resonance. Like attracts like. And as you become more yourself, you attract people who are more themselves. You create relationships based on authenticity rather than performance. Based on mutual respect rather than need. Based on choice rather than obligation. Based on love rather than fear. This is the life that is possible. This is what waits for you on the other side of the work. Not a life free from challenge, but a life where you have the tools to navigate challenge. Not a life free from pain, but a life where you have the capacity to transform pain into wisdom. Not a life free from loss, but a life where you understand that loss is part of the human experience, not a punishment, not a failure, but simply what happens when we love, when we risk, when we live fully. Not a life free from fear, but a life where fear is information, not a prison. Where fear tells you what matters, what is at stake, what requires courage. And courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is feeling the fear and acting anyway. Courage is being terrified and still choosing truth. Courage is knowing you might fail and trying anyway. Courage is being vulnerable even though vulnerability has hurt you before. Courage is trusting even though trust has been betrayed. Courage is loving even though love has disappointed you. Courage is hoping even though hope has been crushed. Courage is being yourself even though yourself has been rejected. This is what it means to be alive, to be fully human, to be awake, to be present, to be real. And being real is the only antidote to the mask. Not fighting the mask, not exposing the mask, not judging the mask, but simply being so real, so authentic, so grounded in your own truth, that the mask has no power over you. That you can see it clearly without being seduced by it. That you can have compassion for the person wearing it without sacrificing yourself to them. That you can wish them well without allowing them into your life. That you can understand their pain without taking responsibility for healing it. That you can hold space for their humanity without tolerating their toxicity. This is the nuance of wisdom. This is the complexity of mature consciousness. This is what it means to see clearly, to hold multiple truths at once, to have empathy without enabling, to have boundaries without cruelty, to have standards without judgment, to have discernment without cynicism, to have hope without naivety, to have trust without foolishness, to have love without losing yourself. This is the dance. This is the balance. This is the work of being human in a world full of masks. And it is work. It is daily practice. It is constant calibration. It is never finished. But it is also joyful. It is also liberating. It is also deeply, profoundly satisfying. Because there is nothing more satisfying than being yourself, than knowing yourself, than trusting yourself, than choosing yourself, than loving yourself. Not in a narcissistic way, not in a selfish way, but in a grounded, solid, unshakable way. In a way that allows you to show up fully for others because you are not depleted. In a way that allows you to give generously because you are not empty. In a way that allows you to love freely because you are not desperate. In a way that allows you to be present because you are not performing. In a way that allows you to be real because you are not afraid. Fear is what keeps the mask in place. Fear of being seen. Fear of being rejected. Fear of being alone. Fear of being too much or not enough. Fear of being judged. Fear of being abandoned. Fear of being hurt. These fears are real. They are valid. They are based on experience. But they are not truth. They are stories. Stories we tell ourselves to stay safe. Stories that once protected us but now imprison us. Stories that need to be examined, questioned, challenged, and ultimately released. Because the truth is, you will be seen. And some people will reject you. And you will be alone sometimes. And you will be too much for some people and not enough for others. And you will be judged. And you will be abandoned. And you will be hurt. These things will happen. They are part of being alive. But they will not destroy you. They will not define you. They will not diminish you. Unless you let them. Unless you make them mean something about your worth. Unless you internalize them as truth rather than recognizing them as experiences. As data points. As information about other people, not about you. This is the shift. This is the reframe. This is the cognitive restructuring that changes everything. When someone rejects you, it is not because you are not enough. It is because you are not right for them. And that is okay. That is actually good. Because you do not want to be with someone for whom you have to perform, to shrink, to be less than you are. You want to be with someone who celebrates you exactly as you are. And those people exist. But you will not find them if you are busy performing. You will not attract them if you are busy being who you think you should be. You will only find them when you are being who you actually are. And yes, that means more rejection. More people who are not right for you. More experiences of not fitting. But it also means that when you do find your people, when you do create your relationships, they will be real. They will be based on truth. They will be sustainable. They will nourish you rather than deplete you. They will expand you rather than shrink you. They will celebrate you rather than tolerate you. This is worth the risk. This is worth the vulnerability. This is worth the fear. Elena knows this now. She has lived it. She has experienced both sides. The performance and the authenticity. The mask and the face. The false connection and the real connection. And there is no comparison. The real connection, even when it is harder, even when it requires more courage, even when it involves more risk, is infinitely more satisfying. Because it is real. Because it is true. Because it is you. And being you fully and completely is the point of being alive. Not being successful. Not being liked. Not being perfect. But being you. In all your messy, complicated, contradictory, evolving humanity. This is the gift. This is the goal. This is the work. And it is the most important work you will ever do. Because everything else flows from it. Every relationship. Every choice. Every experience. Every moment. When you are grounded in yourself, when you are connected to your truth, when you are living from the inside out, life becomes an expression of who you are rather than a performance of who you think you should be. And that expression, that authentic living, is what creates meaning. What creates joy. What creates fulfillment? What creates a life worth living? So we come to the end of this exploration, this journey under the mask, this examination of why the brain falls for those who destroy it and what we can do about it. We have traveled through neuroscience and psychology, through manipulation tactics and healing practices, through Elena's story and the broader patterns it represents. We have looked at the mask wearers and the mask believers. We have examined the traps and the escapes. We have explored the pain and the possibility. And what we have found is this: the brain falls for those who destroy it because the brain is wired for connection and can be exploited by those who understand that wiring. But the brain also has the capacity to learn, to heal, to grow, to protect itself without closing off. The work is not to never be fooled. The work is to recognize when you have been fooled and to choose differently going forward. The work is not to never be hurt. The work is to transform hurt into wisdom. The work is not to never wear masks. The work is to know when you are wearing them and to have a self underneath. The work is not to become invulnerable. The work is to become whole. And wholeness is the only real protection against manipulation. Because manipulation exploits emptiness. And when you are full, when you are complete, when you are grounded in yourself, there is nothing for the manipulator to exploit. You are no longer the right audience for the performance. This is the message. This is the lesson. This is the wisdom that comes from seeing behind the mask. Not cynicism, not suspicion, not closing off, but discernment, awareness, consciousness, the ability to see clearly and choose wisely, the ability to remain open without being naive, the ability to trust without being foolish, the ability to love without losing yourself, the ability to give without depleting yourself, the ability to be vulnerable without being exploited, the ability to be yourself fully and completely in all circumstances. This is sovereignty. This is freedom. This is power. And it is available to everyone who is willing to do the work, who is willing to face the pain, who is willing to question the programming, who is willing to challenge the patterns, who is willing to choose themselves, who is willing to be real. The theater never closes. The stage is everywhere. The masks are all around us. But you do not have to be fooled by them. You do not have to participate in the performance. You can choose to be real. You can choose to be authentic. You can choose to be yourself. And in that choice, in that daily practice of choosing yourself, you create a life that is truly yours. Not a life designed by others' expectations. Not a life spent performing. But a life lived from the inside out. A life aligned with your truth. A life that honors your values. A life that celebrates your humanity. A life that is messy and complicated and imperfect and real. And real is all that matters. Real is all there is. Real is the only thing worth being. And so the curtain falls on this act. But the show continues inside each of us in the silence of our thoughts. The mask we have analyzed today, you may know it well. You may wear it, or perhaps you see it in someone you love. The comment section below is not a place for judgment. It is our stage for confessions, a safe space for observers. Use that space to share your story. What mask did you have to wear to survive? We want to hear from you. And if you felt understood here, subscribe. Because here, you are not alone. Together, we will keep unraveling human theater, one mask at a time. The next act is about to begin.